recently finished Living Off the Land by Gather Round, and I wanted to share with you some of the things that we did in it, some of the books that we read, and some of the activities and outings that we went on, so that if you are planning a lesson, you can consider what you might want to add for your own homeschool. First, I just want to say, yes, I loved it. I thought that this was so much fun to do with my kids. However, we only did the teacher's guide. I selected some of the worksheet pages from the elementary and upper elementary levels that I did want my kids to do here and there. But for the most part, we use our own curriculum for other things. I just love being eclectic and putting things together myself. And so we didn't do a lot of the things from the workbook. So I really don't have much to share from that side of it. But every morning we would sit down and just read a chapter about a specific topic. Like this one is building a home, and just kind of like what that would look like time-wise. Read that. That's it. And then I would go a little bit further with some of these topics as well. I highly recommend downloading the Gather Round app. On here, you can get a whole bunch of resources that other moms recommend, just like I'm doing here in this video. There's also videos that you can watch with your kids on those specific topics. We love the YouTube channel Townsend, and we watched it quite often. This is like a bunch of historians who, or like reenactor historians that get together and they were building a log cabin the exact way that it would have been done before. And the terminology that they were using, like chinking the gaps, that like I learned so much from it. I thought it was really cool what the foundations of the house were like, how they would winterproof, or what the jobs the kids would have at that time. I really love this channel and found it to be really soothing too. So I love just having it on in the background. They also do a ton of things with like food that pioneers would have been eating, or settlers would have been eating. And so it was a really cool YouTube channel that I really, really think you should watch if you're going to be doing this. But that app will really help you put together, you can just open up to whatever lesson you're in. And so if they're talking about like water filtration, that might not just be in like this time era, but they'll show like the history of water filtration maybe, or like up to current, what that looks like. And those are things that are usually covered more so in the workbooks, but you can still bring some of those things in through the videos. We just really enjoy using videos and other resources like that in our house, so that worked super duper well. As we were going with this study, I had my kids start a new world on Minecraft, and so they had to go find a good land that would be for settling, learning some of the things that we had talked about in here, like you need fresh water and you need space for land, and just like what are some of those things that would make it a really good place to settle and build your homestead. And then as we were learning about things, they continued to add to them. So as we learned about a smokehouse or ways to keep your water or your food cool, like in a root cellar, then they would go in there and they would build those things themselves. And I think that that just really helps. You know how some curriculums want your kids to like build this really expensive thing that will show like all of the divots in the land, and you add all of the pieces and whatever. It's at Hobby Lobby, super expensive once you put all the parts together. So I love Minecraft and being able to just like go on there and terraform and do what you need to do to kind of just solidify that for kids in their brains a little bit more, like they're building it and they're doing it. I know it's not like hands-on. We did go outside a lot. We did a ton outside, so I'll get to that. But this Pioneer Community book, I just want to buy it. I got it from our library, but I think that it's totally worth owning, and it does such a good job showing and explaining things from that time, and it's pretty simple. But my boys were even looking through here, so like as they were building the barn on Minecraft, they had to look here to see like, well, what are some examples of different barns? Did you want to build like a chicken coop and a pig farm like separately, or did you want one all connected? How did you want to do that? Even just like looking, oh, maybe an orchard would be a nice thing to have. And so I found this book to be really fun for them to flip through, water wheels and milling and how did that work. So I really like this book and really would recommend this one for you. while they're here. Lincoln Logs, like you gotta have your Lincoln Logs, right? They would sit and play with those quite a bit while I was reading the lesson to them as well, so that was really fun. Obviously, we read Little House in the Big Woods. If you haven't read that one, it is so good. Honestly, I've never gone on with my kids. We've read it 3 times now, but we've never gone on to the other Little House on the Prairie books. I just really like that one. And then we always get sidetracked and like go on to the next thing, like The Sign of the Beaver. We just finished this book and love it. This is our second time reading that one for my oldest son. It's his second time. And he was just so excited. He just wanted me to keep reading and like do it all at one time. And some of my younger boys were not as eager, so we did end up spreading it out. But Sign of the Beaver is great. It takes place before Westward Expansion. It actually takes place right before the Revolutionary War, but it's about this young boy and his dad who go and build a log cabin, and they are settling the land there, and their interactions that they have with the natives in that place. So we really like that book. A new find for us were these independent readers called Tales from Maple Ridge, and they look like this, and they're just about this little boy and like his adventures, making a mess or getting lost in a blizzard. And my boys really enjoyed these readers during this series. I had never seen these before, but this would be like a Little House for boys, fun, easy readers for them. Another series I recently became aware of is Puff and Spotsy. These 2 toys from a toy box go on adventures through history. They find something like a covered wagon in the toy box, and then they go on their adventure. They get to see what a little town was like. There's a map of the Oregon Trail. I found it to be really hard to find information about the Oregon Trail, whether it's books or videos, to be able to share with my kids. Oh, I guess there is an Oregon Trail board game. We didn't get that one, but that might be fun to play with your kids too. But this book was a really good one to read with the littles. If I had little girls, I would want the Little House on the Prairie paper doll set for this. And I think that it would be really fun to play with those paper dolls while listening to the chapters that mom's reading. And I had them when I was a little kid, and I still remember them. My mom and I actually talked about it quite a bit because I do remember those, but my mom came every day because she was excited about this lesson. So my mom would actually come most days to just sit in with us for this lesson and just kind of be part of it, and then share like things that she knew also with the kids. And so that was really fun, but that would be a really fun addition to this. You can also get My Little House Crafts. And so this shows just how to do different crafts that Laura and Mary would have done back then. So that's a good addition as well. Another fun, really like beginner read, this one from Usborne. It's just about like farms and things, but it kind of goes along with that same theme. So my first grader was going through reading some of this as well. One of the things that I struggle with is always wanting to do all the unit focus things right during that time. So this is a 20 lesson unit, 20 days, and I want to do all of it right then. But I knew that this study was coming, and some things I wasn't going to be able to do during it. So I paid attention to what we could do ahead of time. Like we got to go to Boonesboro earlier in the summer. This was incredible. If you live in Kentucky or anywhere near it, you should totally go there. We had so much fun. We got to see a weaver and a candle maker and the blacksmith, and just like a ton of other people that were reenacting all of this. I love reenactments. I think it's such a fun way to learn history, and we learned so much, and we would refer back to it quite a bit, even like the gardens that they had there. It was really, really neat. So we did that earlier in the summer. After the lesson, actually like a week after we finished this lesson, we finally got to go out to a friend's house and milk a cow. And so I'm just still keeping my eyes open for those opportunities. During the lesson, we did get to go out to a sheep farm also, and so like that was really fun. And that friend actually knew quite a bit about foraging as well, which is one of the lessons. And so she was like walking around her yard just showing us what was edible, and we were so surprised that there was so much just in her yard. That was really cool. One of my boys picked up whittling during this lesson. I bought him the things to start doing that. We used these supplies from Beaver Crafts, and so far I'm really impressed with them. There's even these like pre-cut spoons that he has the right scooper knife I don't know all the terms, to be whittling a spoon. And so that just is a little bit easier in getting him started with that. We actually saw somebody whittling when we went to a little house on the prairie, like days. Like it happens every year kind of in our area of the woods. And so we got to go there and see him whittling, and then my son expressed interest in that, and so I bought him these kits so that he could do it himself. Another thing that one of the twins, my 8-year-olds did is with his dad, they started a sourdough starter from scratch, which is really cool. I was really hoping that he might enjoy it a little bit more than he does. Maybe someday. He really likes baking, but he hasn't really caught on to that. But he named his sourdough starter Laura, so that's cute. Some other topics that are covered in this unit are clearing the land, protection, winter is coming, baking, raising livestock, cleanliness. What a great topic for little boys. Clothing, foraging, preservation. I don't do canning. We did have a garden this year. We usually do, but it's for fresh salsa because that's just not one of the things that I prioritize. And if you feel pressure to like then go do all of these things and make them part of your life, I think you're missing the point. The point is to learn about them, maybe introduce a couple of things, and just have appreciation for how others used to live and how we live, and to develop contentment even within our kids. And I think that's a really cool thing. There was a lot of like character development moments that we got to talk about in here. There is a devotional to go along with each lesson, and I really enjoy those devotionals. I think they're really well thought out and introduced in there as well. Overall, I really enjoyed this study. It was really fun, and do think that it would be one of the ones that I would want to come back to again in the future with my family, because we just had such a good time with it. Here are some other videos that you might want to check out next, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.